This meeting is now called to order. My name is Sandra Seidel, and I'm the chair of the HART ADA Committee. Welcome to the August 19, 2021 ADA Committee. Please look at the screen to your device. An image of the flag is displayed. Will you all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Staff, please do the roll call.
Committee Member Clark? Present.
Present.
Committee Member Jenkins? Committee Member Gwaltney?
Present.
Committee Member Lebu?
Present.
Committee Member Mills?
Here.
Committee Member Pancho?
Here.
Chair Seidel?
Here.
Committee Member Bier? Madam Chair, you have quorum.
Rules for meeting participation are provided in the packet for your information. Next, in section 3 of the packet, you will find the meeting minutes from the February 18, 2021 and May 20th, 2021 ADA Accessibility Hybrid Meetings. Are there any comments or corrections? Is there a motion to approve both sets of minutes?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Staff, will you take a vote by name and announce the results?
Committee Member Clark?
Present.
Yay.
Yay.
Committee Member Gwaltney?
Yay.
Committee Member Lebu?
Yes.
Committee Member Mills?
Here.
Committee Member Pancho?
I have to abstain, I was not here for that meeting. Are we voting on the approval for the minutes?
Minutes, yes.
Yeah, I wasn't here, so I'm not able to.
Abstain? Yes, thank you.
She's
ma'am.
abstaining.
Chair Seidel?
Yes.
Motion passes. 5 votes yay, 1 abstain.
Next are presentations. Ms. Kemley Green, Manager of Customer Service, you're recognized to present the sequence for the presentations.
Good afternoon. Thank you, everyone who is interested in the position. The candidates that submitted their application. This process will be that each candidate will have 3 minutes to present, and after all the presentations have been heard, a verbal roll call vote will be taken to select a new committee member. Voting will be done by candidate number, not name. As noted on the agenda, Sharon Austin withdrew her candidacy from consideration. All other candidates will be announced in alphabetical order by the chair.
Candidate 1 is Ms. Christina Hughes. You're recognized to present.
Is she here?
Ms. Hughes?
Ms. Hughes, are you online? No, looks like Ms. Hughes isn't here.
Candidate 2 is Ms. Kathy Lewis. You're recognized to present.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much. I hope you can hear me okay. Again, I am Kathy Lewis, and I'm interested in joining this committee because I always feel like I'm not doing enough. When we discovered that I have a daughter with a disability, and when we discovered she had special needs, as any parent would feel, I felt completely overwhelmingly inadequate. I mean, when you have a child, you have to love and care for them and provide shelter and things like that. But when there are special needs involved, it was concerning for us. So what I did was I joined every board that would have me. I joined the ARC of North Carolina. I became a surrogate parent in the school systems. I was even on a museum board to help with inclusion. But I guess the best way to sort of sum up why I'm here is to tell a little story. We have a daughter with a disability, as I mentioned, and when she's 24 now, and we discovered we needed 24-hour care. We had to fight with the state, the Agency for Persons with Disabilities, to get that. I put in a request, and it sat on someone's desk for over 4 months. I was frustrated, and so I wrote to the Health and Human Services Secretary and 75 other people about 3 in the morning. And at 9 a.m., the office called me from D.C. and told me to call the Administrator for Disabilities for the entire country at 10 a.m., which I did. And she answered the phone. I nearly fainted because that rarely happens. And this is what she told me. She said, Mrs. Lewis, if those people don't call you in 2 days, call me back. And I said, okay. Well, in 2 days, my daughter's case was fully funded and ready to go. That was a Thursday, and by Tuesday, it was ready. And what happened was, I was very upset. Even though we had a positive outcome, I was upset about it, couldn't sleep at night, worried about other families. So I did something really crazy, and I decided to run for office. I ran for state Senate seat in 2018, no hope of winning. I just wanted to tell the story of how quickly we had that turnaround because I spoke to D.C. And then again in 2020, when a special election came about, I ran for that as well. I tell you this story just to let you know that, I'm not good at a lot of things, but one thing I'm very good at is problem solving. And I solve lots of problems for people with disabilities in that they call me as a result of running for office to help them. So I'm very excited about doing this work with this committee. As I said before, I always feel like I'm not doing enough. And this is an area where I had not worked specifically in, and I'm very interested in seeing it. My daughter went to Pepin Academy, and I used to see the HART buses coming to pick up the students, met quite a few of the drivers from just waiting in car lines, and they were all wonderful. And that's what I thought of when I saw this position, come about. I also, I've been married for 29 years, and my husband is a physician, and I'm from Baltimore. I grew up in a very rough situation and fought my way out of poverty and graduated from Johns Hopkins. I say all that to say, not only escaping poverty, that also gives you a lot of skills at how to solve problems. So my philosophy is the impossible.
Ms. Lewis, your 3 minutes are up. Thank you. Candidate 3 is Ms. Mary Schock. You're recognized to present.
Thank you. I would just want to say I'm Mary Schock, which has been said. I have been using the HART Plus system since 1997 when I became a person with a visual disability. I am currently the sole proprietor of Ray of Sunshine Empowerment Services. I am a licensed clinical social worker in the state of Florida, and I provide counseling and psychotherapy to individuals in need. I also am the vice president of Advocates for Service Animal Partners. I have been an advocate for over 20 years with the National Federation of the Blind, but I'm currently pursuing advocating for individuals with service animals who have access issues or other issues when using service animals. I believe this is one of the qualities that makes me unique to this board, is having the knowledge of laws, state laws, as well as laws under the Americans with Disabilities Act to help in this area of transportation with HART. I've worked closely with individuals at HART when I myself, who uses a guide dog, have had issues, and I believe that there are still things that need to be done, but in many facets, not just the paratransit system, but also the bus line, as well as the TECO streetcar line when it comes to ADA issues with individuals with service animals, as well as individuals with disabilities when it comes to announcements and other issues. So I believe I bring a unique perspective to the board in that regard and would appreciate your consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Schock. Candidate 4 is Miss Montanya Wizaruk.
Yes. Am I using this microphone?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know if you guys can see me, but my name is Maddie Wizaruk. I am a Tampa native. I graduated from the University of South Florida. I have my bachelor's in anthropology and psychology. For the past 10 years, I have been working with individuals with disabilities, and I currently am the assistant director with the GROW Group. And what we do is we help individuals with finding and maintaining employment. So I have a job coach. I have a caseload of individuals with all sorts of disabilities: developmental, intellectual, low vision, blind, hard of hearing, deaf, physical. So I work with all disabilities. To me, independence is a really important thing. It's my passion to help individuals to be independent. I think independence looks different to every single person, but two staples of independence for me is financial independence, which I'm doing in my day-to-day by helping individuals to gain jobs, and transportation, independence in getting places. I know when I was a teenager, and I'm grateful I'm able to drive. I have hand controls in my car, so when I was 17, I was out there driving all over the place. I also like to travel, so I've been a lot of places in the United States where I've used public transportation, and so this would mean a lot to me to be able to be on a committee, to be able to assist other individuals, be a resource for you guys, having a unique perspective as a person with a disability, also working with people with disabilities, and also be able to use the resources that I find out here and get the education I have here to bring to my clients as well. So I hope that you guys select me to be able to be on this committee, and I really appreciate you guys' time and the opportunity to talk with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wizaruk. Candidate 1, Ms. Christina Hughes.
Yes, I'm here.
You can present, please.
And I apologize for being late. It's my first time at this location. Good afternoon, everybody. Is it okay if I touch it and move it up? Okay. Good afternoon. My name's Christina Hughes. I work at Lighthouse for the Blind and Low Vision. I'm the orientation and mobility instructor there, and I have a master's degree in visual disabilities education. And so what that looks like for my work is assisting clients who are blind or who have low vision in safe use of the white cane, particularly. But also a huge component of what I do is working with these same individuals on use of paratransit, door-to-door, fixed route. So in the role, I come across a lot of interesting things, hear a lot of client stories, and I would love the opportunity to be a mouthpiece for my clients and to advocate for them when it comes to what's working well and things that can also be improved upon. So that's my interest in joining the committee, and thank you so much for having me today, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Ms. Hughes. Ms. Green, you're recognized to review voting procedures.
Again, I want to thank all the candidates for your presentations. The committee will now vote, indicating their selection by candidate number. If it's okay, I'm going to pause a minute while Mr. Arizona comes in so I can explain the rules when he's in here. Let me help with the chair. Make sure his microphone is on. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Mr. Jenkins.
Hello.
Hi.
How we doing? We're here at the voting. And I can find the page. This is candidate number 1, number 2, three and 4. There's 4 candidates. So they're getting ready to vote, and they'll ask you for your vote. So it's either 1, 2, 3, or 4. We're not saying the names, just 1, 2, 3, or 4. This is number 3. And Miss Montoya is in the crowd is number 4. Okay? Okay.
Thank you. We're going to proceed. The committee will now vote indicating their selection by candidate number, not name. As a reminder, the candidates were number 1, Christina Hughes, number 2, Kathy Lewis, number 3, Mary Shuck, number 4, Ms. Montoya Wizarek. Staff, please call the roll.
Committee Member Clark.
3.
Committee Member Jenkins.
I don't know, number 1.
Okay.
Number 1? Thank you.
Committee Member Gwoltney.
4.
Committee Member Lebu.
4.
Committee Member Mills.
1,
Committee Member Pancho.
3.
Chair Seidel. 4. Candidates number 4, Mary Wizorek, got 3 votes. Candidates number 1, 2 votes. Candidate number 3, 2 votes.
I didn't hear her.
Number 4, right?
Congratulations, Ms. Wizorek. Welcome to the ADA Committee. Thank you to all the candidates for your interest and time. Who's doing the evacuation, Rich?
That's one running window, but double let the action on.
Now you're just going to go to Yolanda Moreno.
I'm sorry,
Next is Yolanda Moreno with the presentation.
Miss Yolanda. What's her name?
Moreno. Yolanda Moreno.
Okay. Miss Yolanda Moreno is recognized to present.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, committee members. My name is Yolanda Moreno. I am a Community Engagement Associate with HART. I would like to thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak with you guys. I'm going to be doing a presentation on hurricane preparedness. So what we do, here at HART, we provide a free of charge service and during times of hurricane when we have emergency evacuation. So what happened is at HART, our buses stop running on our regular routes, and then we begin to run evacuation service, transporting people to a Red Cross emergency shelter. So during the time, whether it's a hurricane or any type of other emergency that requires evacuation, the Emergency Operations Center is the one that advises HART as to when they need to begin evacuation services. So at that time, our regular bus service is suspended, and in turn, that is when our fixed route system stops running, and we begin to run the evacuation service on the designated routes. So all of our buses are ADA accessible. They can carry up to 2 wheelchairs on the bus at any given time. And like I said, this is a free service. So we ask anyone that is needing that service, they can look on the routes and they will see the emergency shelter stop, like the sign that you see on your screen. This allows someone to know, lets someone know that this route is designated as an evacuation route, meaning that they can stop on that route along the route and to be picked up. So it's called, these routes are designated as flag stops, meaning that if they are needing that service, they can stop on the route, flag the bus down, and they will stop to pick that person up. So here are some of the suggested items that we have people, that we let them know that they can bring. That includes a 1 suitcase per person. With that, you should bring in identification, medication, toiletries, valuable papers, pillows, blankets. Now, some of the emergency shelters are equipped to take pets. So you can bring your pet on board, but they must be in a small carrier or a kennel. And those shelters will only take cats and dogs, no other type of cat. And of course, we ask that no weapons, alcohol, or flammable material be brought on board. So if you can see, here's the shelters that we serve. And like I said, they are Red Cross shelters. So anyone that uses route A, with A, B, and C, and G, would be going to Smith Middle School and Citrus Park area. And if it's noted, that shelter provides service for pets, and it is also an ADA accessible shelter. Not all shelters are equipped for ADA services. So the 3 that are is shelter number 1 at Smith Middle School, Middleton High School, and also Shields Middle School that serves the Ruskin area. So one of the things that I also like to remind people, if a person, whether it's yourself or a family member or friend, requires special attention and special care during evacuation, that they were required to use a special needs shelter, it's important to make sure that you pre-register for those shelters. During the time of emergency, if there's a storm that's imminent, that's on its way, those shelters, the program stops taking reservations. And so it's important that times like these where there's nothing happening, this would be the best time for someone to sign up for that service. The services, so you can do 2 things. You can request request a registration by phone, calling the Hillsborough County Health Department, or you can do it online if they have an online registration. And yes, transportation is available. It is provided through Sunshine Line. This is not a service that is done through HART Plus. I know that a lot of times ADA, HART Plus serves a lot of the ADA community, but during time of emergency evacuation, Sunshine Line is the one that provides that transportation. And like I said, it's very important that the person pre-register before a storm comes. If you're a person that already has registered with the service, I remind you, go back, make sure that they have your information up to date. If you've moved, change your number, because what they do is once the emergency center says that a storm is coming, we need to start doing evacuation. They're going to start making phone calls and following up to arrange those pickup times. So it is important for them to have your updated information at all times. Here are some emergency contact numbers that we provide. Of course, the HART info line, Hillsborough County, like I said, the Emergency Operations Center, the special needs shelter. And like I said, the special needs shelters are run by the Florida Health Department. And of course, you're always 911. Thank you for your time. Any questions?
I do.
Gloria.
Do you publish the routes that you're going to be picking up people? I would be interested in knowing which busy streets you use.
Yes, the routes are published. There is also an evacuation route guide that HART puts out every year, and the guide can also be found on our website.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
How much promotion and information do you share with the community in regards to this information? It was not a concern that happened here in the city of Tampa, but during some emergency preparedness committees that I sit on in another area in Florida, there was a community member who had said that they weren't aware of where to go and things like that in advance of a storm. So, you know, how frequently do you start sharing the information? Is there a timeline for notifying the community about these options?
That's a great question. I myself am the one that goes out to the community, so I start as early as possible with going out. I schedule a lot of meetings at senior housing and where that will take me community centers, and I go out and I do the presentation. I also have a large map that includes the evacuation routes so that they have that information on hand and they can see for themselves. And the other thing that I also do this presentation in Spanish. So I also just go out to the Spanish community and let them know.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I know that a couple of days ago that I was out there on a drip and I was waiting to get my repair drip and they went somewhere else, and I think they get a call for me. They were going to have to cancel your return to it. You have to go home because the door was getting closer. All the closers were going in. So I want to recommend that you guys continue doing that because that is a big help. Because you don't know if you're already out there, you're not looking at the weather. So it's good that you all did that. Call and let them know that the door's getting closer, you need to get to each other. Or you going home, we gotta get you home. So that's good. I commend you guys on that. Good job.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next are the reports. First up is the chairman's report. The only thing that I want to bring up are two things. One, I'm still informing bus drivers how to deploy the seat belts. This is becoming a problem, especially on Route 38. Some of the drivers are new and say they don't know how to use a seat belt, so I'm having to keep showing them. The other thing that I want to bring up is I know our maintenance department has a lot on their mind and with the cleaning of the buses, but the wheelchair seating area are not being cleaned as thoroughly as I feel they should. And as far as where we have to, the bell pad that we have to punch to ring for a stop, those are not being cleaned at all. Some of them are really, really dirty. So that's all I have right now. Next is the HART, HART Plus and Customer Choice Voucher Program update. Mr. Gregory Bracken, Director of Operations Support, ADA Officer, you are recognized.
Good afternoon, everybody. Things are starting to pick up for us on the HART Plus side of the house. Our ridership is breaking the 650 marks recently. We were once at a high of 900 trips a day, so we're slowly getting back up there, and we're seeing the ridership start to increase out there. For the month of July, we did 11,102 trips. Our pickup time at the house was about 91.98, and our appointment time, on-time performance, was 99.47 for the month. Yellow Cab, our contractor for our Customer Choice Voucher Program, performed 2,872 trips for last month. Our grand total for our program for the program so far to date is about over 350,000 trips that have been provided with that contract. So been well used for the month of July. Like I said, 2,872 trips. Of that, 1,392 were wheelchair users. We did impose some penalties on them for late trips, which we started about October of last year. So we are holding them accountable for their performance as well. Currently, their on-time performance is about 4.25% of their trips are late. We are constantly in communications with them, and I believe Mr. Brendan Love from Yellow Cab will be speaking later on during the public open session, so he can address his concerns when he comes on there. So that's it for this month.
Are there any questions for Mr. Bracken?
One of the, I wrote a hotline yesterday. Nice new vans you got there. The new vans. Very good, more room. Pretty good size. I like how you got the extra seats in the back. There's in case someone wants to come on. It's pretty good van.
Okay.
The driver very courteous. Well, I want to let you guys know that I rode to St. Pete's last month and on the 100X. And the drivers, they have a lot to deal with. People do not want to wear the mask. They had one lady on there who refused to wear a mask, cut the driver out, but she handled it very well. They have been trained very well. I give them a good job because people have attitudes because they don't want to wear a mask. You know the rules, so why would you get a level hard down? But you know some people, but the devil was very kind. She handled it very well. Better than I would have handled it.
Okay. We have received 13 vans this year on top of the 45 that we received last year, so almost our entire fleet has been replaced. Our average age of our paratransit fleet now is a year and a half, which is phenomenal. So, you know, we've got some very good equipment out there, and it should help reduce breakdowns and things like that for us. So, mask mandate is with us for a long while. The Federal Transit Administration has just extended it through the end of the year. It was supposed to end next month, but it looks like it's going to be with us for quite a while. So any transit operated by the FTA, the mask is required. So, and that's all our facilities, on our buses, as well as the airports and things like that. So thank you, Arizona.
Gloria?
My question is on the yellow cabs. Now I finally gave up, but my problem, I don't know about whether they have enough drivers at all because I can't even get them on the telephone. Has that been, it's probably been since February or March that I've tried. So I'm going to be fair about that. But has this phone problem been corrected?
I can answer some that I know of, but we'll let Brandon address it when he gets on. Yellow Cab has made the transition. They did have their call center contracted out. They have since moved it back here to Tampa, and they have their own staff here working the call center now. Brendan can break down the timeline when he made that change and see if it was before you used it or not, but it is in-house here, and they are operating totally in Tampa now.
I know that the other day they had phone calls, so that they were working on it. When I called,
Yeah.
they couldn't understand very well. But they said, they told me that they had phone calls and they were working on it.
Yep. We had a phone issue today with them. They called and notified us and gave us an alternate number to use. So we're in communications with them. It's hard for us to get the information out to you unless you call our customer service line, but we'd be glad to help as an intermittent, solution while they get their phone lines back up. So, okay.
Thank you, Mr. Bracken. Next is bus stop update. Mr. Dwayne Brown, Project Manager 1, you're recognized.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and committee members. My name is Dwayne Brown. I am the Basic Transit Infrastructure Program Manager here for HART, or otherwise known as BTI, and I'll be giving you guys an update on some of our projects, what we have going with the program. So we have a total of 10 projects that I'm reporting on for this quarter. I have 2 completed projects where I'm going to report on. One project in pre-construction, got 2 projects awaiting bids, and 1 project in permitting and 4 projects in design. You can see these are the current locations where we're going to be working at. We try to do them all across the county, and we try to do projects as funds allow. This is the 22nd and Henry Avenue project that was just completed. We completed 2 complimentary bus stops there, and we worked in conjunction with the Grace Point Medical Facility there to do these. They gave us a easement in order for us to put in shelter pads and landing pads there. And as soon as we get our new shelters in, we're going to be putting brand new shelters at that location. The next one that we completed was at State Road 60 in Strawberry Ridge. This was adjacent to the Strawberry Ridge 55 and older community. We completed this project at the end of July. Both project was completed at the end of July. And it's up and running, and it's functional. As you can see, we have a picture of a patron out there using it. Projects awaiting bids. So there's one correction to this one, the Yukon Street at 26th Street. That one has been given a notice to proceed, and we're waiting on the contractor who is doing this project, American Construction. They're actually doing a project at UATC as well. That's their main project, and they're gonna be all hands on deck to complete that project, and then they're gonna come over and work this project directly after that. So this project is gonna be done probably by the end of September. And then we have Rome Avenue at Hillsborough Avenue, where we're doing complimentary bus stops there as well. And then also we have a BTI construction contract, which is we're trying to get it so where we can streamline our processes and get more construction going, get more places built, more the ADA upgrades and updates that we need. And this construction contract will help us streamline that process. And so that's one of the things that is out to bid right now. We have one project that's in permitting. That's Armenia and Hillsborough. It is currently waiting on an easement from the CDS, and we've been working in conjunction with our legal department to get those easements and everything corrected so that we can get a shelter pad at that location. Okay, we have 4 projects currently in design. Causeway Boulevard at 301. That's the first bus stop that's for the 360 as it comes off the Selman Express. There is a big, huge drainage ditch that's right there that requires our engineering firm to do an environmental study to make sure that we're not going to flood out the houses and companies that are there. And so as they get that environmental study done, that we're waiting for that one to be completed. Hillsborough Avenue at Orion Road, that's right across the street from the Hard Rock Cafe. We're going to be building a shelter pad there. And then 30th Street at Hillsborough Avenue is another one that is right across the street from a high school. I believe that's right there. We're going to be building right there. And then at Tampa Bay Boulevard at HCC, we're going to be expanding the bus bay that's right there in front of the first bus bay, like right after you make the turn off of Dale Mabry to go to the HCC. We're going to be expanding that bus bay so we can get multiple buses in that bus bay at one time. Barring your questions, that's all I have.
Yeah, I have one. The ATC on the movie. The bus does not able to reach the sidewalk. So we have to get in the grass and get on the bus.
So that's the one at ACC?
On the movie?
On Dale Mabry, so right when you make that turn on the Tampa Bay Boulevard, correct?
I believe so.
Yes, sir. Okay, so that's the one that we're working on. So we understand that there's 2 buses that come in at the same time. They're time points for two different routes that's there. And so what we plan on doing is the bus bay was built for 1 bus bay, but when they expanded the routes, they put 2 in there. So now we're gonna just bump that out a little bit so we can get both of them in at the same time. So you won't have to be in the grass or anything like that.
So it's gonna be able to connect to the sidewalk.
Yes, sir.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Brown? Thank you, Mr. Brown. Our next meeting is scheduled on November 18th, 2021 at 3 o'clock right here. Next is public input regarding general concerns. There'll be 3 minutes per speaker. Is there anyone pre-registered who wishes to comment?
Good afternoon. I had a question regarding the customer choice program. I know it was mentioned that someone said the phone number was, or the call center kind of was rerouting calls and trying to get everything in order on their end. I've heard from a couple of my clients that they feel like when they call the direct line for the customer choice program, so that sometimes the drivers won't answer because they don't want to, I don't know, be inconvenienced with taking them or something. So I wanted to see which phone number they should be using and if that's been an issue for anybody else.
They should be using 253 or 121.
Okay.
Well,
No.
let Brandon.
Okay. So they should be calling the main number, the 6666 number. Today they are having a problem, so today they are going to the phone number that ends in 71.
Okay.
But a few months ago, they did do a transition, so the main number that we've advertised is a 661.
Okay.
And occasionally customers were calling the local number at Tampa. But they just got a new call center, and I believe Mr. Brendan is gonna speak in public comment in a minute, so he probably can give us a little more info.
Okay, gotcha.
So for today, that's 71, but they are fixing the problem that they were having today.
Okay, great. And then I have one more question. This one's in regard to bus announcements. I know at the last meeting that was brought up as being an area of concern that the announcements were inconsistent. And I've been checking in with some of my clients just to see how the improvements have been. And I'm still hearing that the announcements are pretty inconsistent. And even while on the bus, the stop announcements are either hard to hear because they're too low, or they're only announcing certain stops. and not all of them. So I just wanted to make the committee aware of that. Thank you.
Is there any others?
Brendan.
Brendan? Brendan Love from Yellow Cab, you're ready to present?
Good afternoon. Thank you, Madam Chair. Firstly, I did not hear what Ms. Mills had asked regarding the call center, but I can confirm what Mr. Bracken stated, that the call center is now based in Tampa, and we have had some issues with our service provider. These have been ongoing, but we expect the resolution on that in the next few days. We did receive some new equipment today, and I know that is being installed, which caused the outage, which necessitated us letting you know that the number was out for some hours earlier today. But I just wanted to briefly address the issue of a lack of drivers, which is impacting our service performance. Obviously, this is not a situation unique to our company or this industry. It is a crisis that is widespread and a challenge facing businesses across the United States. But we're doing everything we can to hire more people. We're advertising through different channels to appeal to a wider audience. And perhaps most importantly, we're removing barriers that ordinarily have prevented people from becoming a driver. I'm not sure if the committee is aware, but there are significant costs associated with becoming a driver. We're now offering to assist in covering all of those costs for background checks, PVDLs, physicals, drug tests, etc. So we're now fronting those costs and other training to expedite the hiring process. In the interim, to mitigate, we've been incentivizing drivers to be in certain high-volume areas during busy times of the day. Our technology allows us to pretty accurately project volume increases, and we believe this is assisting in reducing wait times significantly. I think the complaints are down on the quarter with very similar volume. Ms. Green can maybe corroborate in that regard, but I do believe the complaints are down and the on-time performance is improved. The pandemic obviously continues to have far-reaching effects, and it is essential that patrons please wear masks. We're encountering patrons that aren't prepared to wear a mask because they're citing their vaccination status. But the health and safety of our patrons and our staff is our primary concern. I wish to remind patrons that HART Plus remains a shared ride service, and on occasion there will be more than one passenger in the vehicle, but we are trying to avoid this, unless absolutely necessary. Thank you for your time.
Any questions for Brendan?
If possible, if I have a candidate that might be interested in that driving position to help with filling those positions, where would I look for maybe a job description, or can someone send me a link that I can send to some candidates?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I'd direct that through Ms. Green if that's okay with you.
That'd be fine.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I do have a question. So thank you so much for the information that you were sharing. I certainly understand the challenge because of the lack of person power to do the work. It's not on?
Green?
It's green?
Yeah.
Okay. So if it's green, it means it's on?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry, technology inept here. So my question is, based on the late trips, is the percentage that we're seeing now higher than the percentage that we had before? I mean, are we seeing an increase that can be tied, or has it been pretty consistent as far as the late trips?
From
Your previous reports and such?
Well, I actually have the entire
wonderful.
year here in front of me, so I can answer that question very easily. They did perform less positively in the beginning. We went back out with our contract in October, and we put some penalties in place for late trips. Previous to that, we had about 14% late trips back last year.
Okay.
Since we've imposed the penalties and made them more accountable, we have been averaging in the 4.5 to 5, 4.5, with a high of 5 clear back in July of last year. So they have definitely improved the on-time performance from when we first started the program back in 16.
Okay.
And, we are tracking it diligently. We do the customer complaints follow-ups here. We do quality assurance checks. We call 10% of our customers every single month and ask them how their trip was on Yellow Cab.
Okay.
And we take the feedback from our customers and we forward that back to Yellow Cab to try to improve the service that they're providing for us. So, plus it's a quality assurance for us to make sure that the trip was done and it was done well for our customers.
Okay, excellent.
We have constantly heard the complaint that they don't want to haul our customers because they don't tip well. Well, I'm sorry. Our contract is with them to provide the trips regardless of a tip. So, we have done a very robust business with them for the last 5 years. And I think the management at Yellow Cab is very appreciative of our product that we provide, and they're always working. They have increased their ADA accessible wheelchair vans by 10-fold since we started this contract. I think we started with 17 vans that were ADA accessible now, there. So they have reacted to our demand, and like I said earlier, out of our, I'm gonna find my sheet here. Our 2,800 trips this month, 1,300 of them were wheelchair customers. So there is a lot more of our wheelchair users utilizing Yellow Cab, percentage-wise, than on our fixed routes, our HART Plus system. We're about 20% is wheelchairs on HART Plus. So, they're near 40% is wheelchair users. So they have adjusted to that clientele, and, like you said, they do struggle. We are struggling with drivers coming to work too. So we know the problem. I'm sure Scott's dealing with the same thing. They are out there in the public every single day, and, it is challenging to get them healthy and to come to work, and they have family lives too that they have to take care of. So it's a challenge all around in the transit industry, and it's just not here in Tampa. So.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I have a second question. So I've not heard of any concerns in recent months at all, but in the past, advocates who have service animals have had some concerns that Yellow Cab hadn't, maybe were actually just not only denying, but just not showing up to pick up individuals and such. Have you heard of any concerns along?
I have not had any lately. We did reach out and partner up with Yellow Cab, and we did some sensibility training with them to get them used to all of our clients and how to do the door-to-door. As you know, cabs usually don't do door-to-door. So that was a must for us, that you have to come out and, escort that customer to the cab. And Mr. Bernardi, Abe, is working on that with his clients all the time. So it's an ongoing, and, we do continuing education. We work with them on their drug testing as well through HART to make sure that they're in compliance with that. And, they were part of our audit last year, and they were fine. So, we continue to work very diligently with them.
Okay, thank you.
I have a theory. There's a theory. The drivers, they are used to having cash. They're not used to getting a ticket, one thing, and I guess they have to wait to turn the ticket in to get paid. I think that may be one of the reasons that the driver doesn't want to do. I just been hearing them listen like, but what they don't know is it's the same thing anyway. You're gonna have to wait to get paid anyway. So, but the driver don't understand that ticket is it's still considered as $4, $1 bill. It's the same thing, but they don't get it in their mind. In their mind, they don't understand what that's my theory.
Okay. There was no answer. He was just giving his opinion.
Next is the roundtable discussion. Gloria?
I was most proud of finding out now that you're going to go back to some of the buses that were put down to 1 hour, like the Route 19. Does anybody can we find out? I had trouble with, I got the email, but I had trouble figuring out which one of the buses, the fixed routes, were being increased in times of going.
I can answer that. We have a markup going in this Sunday, the 22nd. The Route 19 will see some time changes, and like we mentioned earlier, they are adding a bus back to that route because of the time, traffic-wise and stuff. It was just not feasible for us to make it on time, so we're making those corrections. We did a revamp of the Route 14's running times, the Route 33's running times, and Kimberly, what's the last one? 10, the Route 10. We moved the end of the line time back to downtown, which gives our drivers some time to use the facilities. At the other end at the airport, the facilities are just so far away, it wasn't allowing them the time to make the needed stops that they need. So we're trying to work with our drivers and take in their input and try to fix some things. And then next markup will be in January, and we're going to address, we just keep going through our system and trying to tweak things up to make the run a little better. But those are the 4 routes that are the focus for this markup going in Sunday.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Samantha?
We have nothing additional?
Arizona?
Nope, I'm good.
Scott?
I just wanted to clarify one thing about the evacuations for special needs shelters. It's sorry, I hit it. Okay, there you go. Can you hear me now? I just wanted to clarify something about the hurricane evacuations for special needs shelters. It's not just Sunshine Line alone. There's no way with our resources that we can evacuate that many people by ourselves. It's a combination of what we call the evacuation working group, and it's Sunshine Line, HART, and school board, and together we do the evacuations based on resource availabilities and teamwork. So it is a combination of us working together collectively as a team. Because Sunshine Line alone, you know, we have about 40 drivers on the road at any given time, and we just can't evacuate that number of people by ourselves. So I just wanted the committee to know that we do that collectively. That's it. Thank you.
Carmen?
Nothing new.
Raquel?
So you know I always have to say something. So. And this, I know that this is not within HART's parameters, but I'd like to throw something out for consideration. The elimination of USERV recently, that was the Tri-County Transportation Service, has really caused great troubles for individuals who were having doctor's appointments and work employment opportunities in other areas. And I know that this falls outside of HART's bailiwick, but if there could be better connectivity with the counties, maybe even connectivity with the paratransit services, I don't know what options may be available. I think that hardship now has caused some great difficulty for individuals. I know of a family that was in Hernando County, was going to Pasco for medical services. The individual is a retired vice principal, or a vice principal who had to retire because of some pretty sudden, severe medical issues, and can no longer get to his doctor's appointments. They don't have a wheelchair-accessible vehicle at all, and was relying on that interconnectivity with USER for those appointments, and unfortunately are really stuck. So I just wanted to throw it out there for consideration. I don't know if there's any planned partnerships that could actually occur between the counties with the paratransit services. Just don't know how that works, and
Again, is no longer in service.
right,
Yeah,
yeah,
yep.
and that's the concern that unfortunately,
Because there is no more money for that. It was a pilot program. So when the pilot ran out, they don't use it no more. So we need to get that up again. So I used it all the time to go to the water. But when the money ran out, they ran out.
We left the action bar.
Go ahead, Gloria.
I'm
We
glad
left the
you,
action center, 16 new notifications, but
I'm glad that you, Raquel, you mentioned that, because I would urge people that are now have lost this. I know we have 3 members of our chapter that cannot come to the chapter meetings, and that doesn't sound like important, but every time people have, their lives have to have things besides work and going to the doctor. And I would urge that people to write to the, I'm not really sure, but some people were writing to our governor. I guess he's very busy with a lot of things, but I think we need this back restored. $6 it was not a humongous amount of money to be able to go to St. Petersburg or Clearwater or Pasco County or Sarasota. And I think it's an important quality of life information, even if people can't get a ride for work, even though that could be approved and they could do that. Thank you for bringing that up.
Raquel, I do know that we had a gentleman come here to talk to our meeting about the cross-county transportation, and that's through T-BARTA, and that goes to several counties, if that might help your,
No,
The funding has been,
It's been stopped.
yeah, that was stopped about a month ago as
It
well.
got stopped.
it stopped?
Yeah,
Yeah.
T-BARTA, there's no cross-county.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's what she's bringing
Yeah.
up. She wants to see if there's something that can be put back in place.
I was going to use it, so I guess I won't.
and my other comment is I want to compliment HART and you, Sandra, for an excellent news article that was done maybe a few weeks ago about the accessibility features that were being built at the transit center. You did an incredible job with the interview, so.
Thank you. Is there any further business for this committee? If not, this meeting is adjourned. I'm sorry, Greg.
No,
Oh,
Our newest member, you okay?
Yes, I was going to say thank you for the opportunity to be here, and I'm excited to continue to be part of this committee.
we welcome you very much. Thank you. Meeting adjourned. I didn't mean to.
That's okay. My name's not on the list, so it's